So they come to Doncaster, and the original Doncaster, because before the Romans came there were no such things as towns, they come up from Lincoln and they build turf forts. There was one on the outskirts of Doncaster there for a short while, and then they come here and they build a big turf fort.
Samples into here, which they would just have on the floor, a bit like the piece hall at Halifax if you've been there, and they would say, oh, this is a sample of my corn, and millers would have a look, feel it, say, yeah, I'll have half a ton of that or whatever, and that was all done in here. But then, so you got to think it was
Georgians. People used to cook the farmer to bring it round. People, the street would have been full of buildings like that one. That's
Anybody got a piece of butterscotch? This is the original recipe, still made locally in Tickhill. We sell it at the Tourist Information Centre.
Now, the Assembly Ball was the highlight, more so than the race of Leger Week, because that's where royalty were invited.
Little details, and it's all done by the guy who's putting the render. What we call it render now, but it was called stucco in them days. Even those are all false. They're not popper pillars at all. They're just done in stucco, just to make it look a lot grander. You've got the standard Georgian front door, 6-panel front door, and a fan light above. Glass windows is a perfect Georgian property. Would we agree? Yes.
As the gentleman just said very quickly, this is another one, townhouse, beautiful in its day.
I'm going to come this way, look. Oh, you're in the way. started off in 1696, and there was a flat rate of 2 shillings per house, with houses with more than 10 windows having to pay 4 shillings. Then again to Thomas Ralph from Snaith, who was a grocer, and she was widowed for a second time, and obviously built up quite a lot of money, and very unusually for the time took out a mortgage and bought this house. This is sometimes called a Venetian window or a Palladian window. It has all sorts of different names, but it was a very fashionable type of window to put in. The details, one thing, we've looked at the sash windows at Rose House, where they have very chunky glazing bars. These are quite a bit thinner. You've got what's called the Flemish one, the full Flemish one, which is where you've got alternate headers and stretches ahead. Yes, Mendelssohn's standard designs of fireplace.
So that will be original.
This will probably be original. This is pine again. This would probably have been painted white or stone colour originally. This was probably always sort of the main bedroom.
Yes,
But there was 1784, there was a brick tax introduced, where you were taxed, as I say, you were taxed before on the number of windows in your property. Now it has found another way of taxing your wealth by the number of bricks. So what happens is that the size of the bricks increases, they get taller, and I would think sort of bricklayers in the early 19th century would have got rather sick of trying to hold these things.
And that's a wooden gutter?
Yes.
With a lead insert. And you had to have it specially made, so almost everything from a door handle to a gutter has to be made by hand.
Yellow suddenly became a very fashionable colour in the early part of the 19th century. At the time this house was built, you find sort of yellow, bright yellow, because chrome yellow was developed, the colour based on chromium, and you could have a bright yellow, wallpaper or bright yellow paint that wouldn't fade. By sort of the time this house is built, have changed quite a bit in terms of lighting. The last two houses would have been lit most of the time by candles. What actually probably, when this house was first built, would be being used would be a lot of oil lamps. Whale oil was coming in, and then there's also colza oil, which is in some ways what saved the whales, which was oil from rapeseed. The difference in lighting technologies, it got sort of cheaper and more convenient to light houses, especially with oil and things, was that it changed the colours people used. Now, earlier on, as I said, people are always balancing sort of colour against, dirt and things. Colours get darker in the 19th century because there's more soot if you're using oil lamps. And as well, once it becomes cheaper than buying lots of candles every day, or not every day, but burning through lots of candles every day, it becomes possible, to have more lighting in a room and to have darker coloured walls and be a bit more profligate really with your use of artificial light. You get architecture getting more literal in its classicism and more abstract at the same time. The front portrait seems sort of a full collar was fully express.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. I'll wait for it to finish.
Yeah,
That will be 3 minutes late for the Minster clock, 2.5 minutes late for the Minster clock. These are more or less on time, but the Minster clock's always a bit late.
Right. No, the mouldings in this room, you see we've got very high skirting boards. Your doors have got 4 panels rather than 6. And these sort of have this sort of detail. If you peer in sometimes through the window, you can see other houses with this type of shutter. And it was destroyed.
No, I've never seen that.
There's the man himself, holding a top hat.
I'm Roger Lewis, I'm chairman of the Georgian Society for East Yorkshire, and this is a splendid event, I hope anyway. We have every expectation of it being a splendid event, and it is also the first time that members of the Georgian group and the Georgian Society for East Yorkshire have met together in this way, and to spend a whole day on it is really a luxury. And as you know also, it is 3 80th birthdays. It's our 80th birthday now as a society. It is the Georgian group's 80th birthday as a society as well. And you won't believe that it's John Wilton Ely's 80th birthday. But before I go any further, I'd like to introduce the Earl of Swinton, Nicholas, to say a word about the house and family.
Thank you so much. Well done you. Right, well, all I can do really is repeat a very warm welcome on behalf of Sir Tatton, who sadly can't be here. No excuse, because he's not an octogenarian. Well, I don't know how many of us around here either are or approaching. But the younger generation haven't got our stamina. But anyway, a very, very warm welcome, and he's very flattered you should have chosen Sledmere House, where perhaps it speaks for itself as being an absolute Georgian gem, and has been a Sykes house since it was built in about 1780.
I, in a sense, have spent most of my life working on various aspects of the Georgian achievement in the visual arts. And I owe a great deal to my late father, who took me around as a child virtually all over England just after the war, and particularly to Georgian houses and Georgian buildings and great country landscapes and so on.
And your generosity in having us up here to join this wonderful occasion. And of course, thank you inevitably and most particularly to John for that fabulous lecture that we heard, and allowing us on his behalf to celebrate his 80th anniversary. The Georgian group would like to mark this occasion by making you an honorary member of the group. I'm really here just to ask you to raise a glass now, if I may, to our two societies in their 80th year, and of course particularly to John Wilton Ely in his 80th. John, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Just like very, very briefly to say thank you for such a good audience, because it's a very special thing to have a sympathetic audience, especially when you get some snatches of difficulties. And of course, I want to thank Valerie again for saving the day in such a way, because it's been, for me, a very moving experience, and I want to thank you all for this honour that I've received. Thank you.
And the church stood there, the church tower, both ends of it was medieval. So the church is still in the position where the village church was, and there were farms up there as well. So it was quite a big, fairly spread out, but some of it was right in front of the manor house. And so when Mark Kirkby bought the estate, he didn't live here. Mark Kirkby, the last house he lived in, was in Beverley in North Bar Within, where the Coronation Gardens are. That's the house on the site there. That's where he was living when he was buying up Sledmere. He never came and lived up here. But then he left it to his nephew, Richard Sykes.
This building doesn't belong here at all. It came all the way from Fairford House in Gloucestershire and was an early work of Sir John Soane, and dating from the 1790s. And it came from a house called Fairford House. The orangery was deemed, it was derelict, but it was deemed worthy of preservation, and the National Trust had it dismantled and put into store. John Harris, who brokered a deal between Sir Tatton and the National Trust, that Sir Tatton would have this facade in bits, provided he erected it at Sledmere and that it was open for public view. Stanton's father, immediately after the war, went to a lot of these demolition sales, where houses were being demolished, and particularly if they contained classical sculpture. The sculpture was being almost given away. The cost of moving the sculpture was far more than you had to pay for. You could buy a statue like this for sort of £25 or something.
1919. But Barbara has done a lot of work on him, and I've done a lot of work on him. Really like him. He's a very nice man.
Guy,
he's a very nice man in all ways.
Except this disastrous diplomatic
blunder.
Many years ago, the Kingston Singers, conducted by Frederic, sang Horror here to a church warden and the dog.
Stayed by Victorian, stayed by and these are birds and grills on this side. We crossed over just to... This one is Thomas Frankish Carpenter of Sledmere. A lot of them are just the people from the village who are part of the regiment. Most of the heraldry is quite obvious. Some of it's just don't know what it is. This is all totally Mark Sykes' drawings. We've got the original drawings for it. And the idea for this circle along the storyline comes from the Romanesque fonts on the walls, which is just that sort of cool drawing. Because the drawings that he did